Hello everyone and welcome to a modding tutorial. So today I would like to show off setting up IntelliJ IDEA. So those of you who have been following my channel probably know that I've been using Eclipse for a long time. I did 2 modding tutorial series before and they used Eclipse. And the main reason for that is that I could never figure out how to set up IntelliJ IDEA in a way that I was happy with. I have multiple mods that I need to be able to modify the code of at the same time without having to switch projects. And it was just not something I could figure out how to do in IntelliJ. There was no information online on how to do it. All the tutorials I could find just use the source folder that was provided in the Forge directory, so you could only have a single mod. So after banging my head against a metaphorical wall for a few years, I finally figured out a way around this. And that is what I'm going to be showing today. Now, I've already tried to record this video once and failed miserably because I had the wrong microphone selected in Audacity. Thanks Audacity for not warning me. But I guess that's a chance to do better this time. So just as a quick word of warning, I'm not going to do anything about it this time, but I had many complaints about it on my last series. I do have a 1440p monitor as my primary display. It's the one you're looking at now, and I've not changed that resolution, so some things may be a little small depending on your internet connection speed and what resolution your video is playing back in. Whenever I get around to doing a 1.13 modding tutorial series, I will probably lower my monitor resolution just for that, but I'm not especially worried about it today. So I don't want to hear any complaints about it. So anyway, I'm not going to go too in-depth about setting up Forge, but you go to files.minecraftforge.net, you download the MDK, and I'm going to create a folder specifically for this. I'm going to call it Demo 2 because it's the second attempt. I'm going to go into there. I've got the files here. Just select all of those, extract them. I also got this little thing in the bottom right corner of the screen that's going to show some key press combinations. The program's called Carmack. It's still working on configuring it. It doesn't show as much as I like, but if I change the settings a little bit, it shows way too much. So from here, what you would do is typically shift right click, and in recent versions of Windows, it's open PowerShell here. In previous versions, it'd be open command prompt. If you're using anything except Windows command prompt, it would be /Gradle W setup decomp workspace, and you would run that command in PowerShell. You could also use a / instead of a /, and if you're in command prompt, you want to remove the / entirely. Now, I'm not going to maybe I should go ahead and run that command. I'm not sure if it actually matters that much in this case. Thankfully, since I've already set up this version of Forge before, it won't take too long to do this. Okay, now back to IntelliJ. We are going to click Import Project. Then inside the folder we just created, we're going to select the build.gradle file that was provided. Now, we shouldn't need to change any settings here. One thing of note is the Use Default Gradle Wrapper should be selected. Okay, so we got some basic stuff set up here already. So in the way that most people show setting up IntelliJ, then the source folder in here contains the example mod. You would then place your mod files in here and run it with that. That's all well and good if you only need a single mod, but I'm just going to go ahead and delete that entire directory because I don't need it. And let's go ahead and collapse this project. So first I'm going to import 2 of my mods. So I'm going to, and this is the project pane, I believe. Right click in there, new module. And we're going to make a Java module, so everything default should be okay. You may want to make sure you're using Java 1.8 or Java 8. Click next. And forgot to show this, the way I have my stuff set up is I have a source folder, and then in there I have a folder for each Minecraft version. I know it's a bit redundant if you're using version control. This system was created a long time ago, so it's just kind of still using it. I may clean that up soon. And then I've got a folder for each mod in here. For my older mods, they have a common and a resources folder. For the newer ones, I've been using the more common source main, and then there's a Java and a resources folder in there. Either setup will work. So let me go ahead and find one of the folders I want. So just selecting the silent lib folder and finish. Yeah, I forgot to overwrite the IMLs or delete them. I guess that'll be okay. Yeah, I guess it cleared everything out. So I'm going to go ahead and this is one of the older ones that has the common and the resources. So on common, right click, mark directory as sources root. And we'll need to do the same thing on resources as well. Now, if it were the source main version, you would want to mark the Java folder and the resources folder. Not the source folder, because IntelliJ will then complain about the package names not lining up, and I don't know why exactly that is, but just mark Java and resources. So we've got our folders marked correctly. Now we're going to need to go into the module settings, so it's F4, or you can use the right-click menu. You may want to check under the Sources tab and make sure that the language level is set to 8. Now, under Dependencies, actually, I almost forgot one thing. So, come up here, and you should see there's something you can expand. Under, should be the same as the folder same name as the folder you created before. And there will be 3 versions under that. You want to select the main one. And somewhere near the top there should be this forge source jar file, and you can see it has this ridiculous long path to it. As a quick little shortcut, right click on it and select Move to Global Libraries. Now I've already done this, but make sure this checkbox is not checked. I imagine moving the file would be bad. And then just click OK. Now back to our project, we are going to add, I don't think we need any module dependencies for this one. Unless that works. I can't remember if I tried that. Let me see. No, that does not work. Okay, never mind. Would be a little bit convenient, but it's not a big deal. This is still way easier than the Eclipse method of doing this. So we are going to click on this plus button here, and we're going to add libraries. So under project libraries, we'll have all these that say Gradle in front of them. We want to select all of these. So just click the first one, shift left click the last one. Going to want our forge source as well, so control click, and I may need Lombok for this project as well. I use that in some of mine, so I'll go ahead and select that one just to be sure. So those should all show up down here now. So let's click OK and try building the project one more time. and should not see any errors. Just a lot of warnings because there's a lot of deprecated stuff. Just preparing for 1.13. And that should be everything for that mod. So let's go ahead and add another one. So again, new module. Next. And select the mod folder. Let's do scaling health. Finish. Overwrite that IML file. And this one uses the same setup with common and resources. So mark both of those as sources. And now let's go to the module settings. Again, that shortcut is F4. So for this one, I actually need scaling health. So I'm going to add a module dependency to silent lib. And same as with silent lib, we're going to need to add all the libraries. And I almost forgot scaling health actually requires a couple others that are in jars. So add jars. And I need Morpheus and Wit. Now, since Wit is one of my own projects, I could just import that, but as for the sake of a quick example, I'm just going to do this instead. Okay, let's try rebuilding that. Could be nothing but a bunch of deprecated stuff. And that should be good. So there's two last steps we need to do. So one is we need to create yet another module, but this one is not a mod. But we're going to follow more or less the same steps, and I've already created a folder for this one. I called it devenv launcher. Not sure if that's the best name for it, but this is the module that we're actually going to be loading up. So click finish. No, not worried about Git right now. So for this one, we're again going to open the module settings, F4. And we are going to add module dependencies. So for this one, we want the main version here. And then we want our mods. And that should be all for that one. Finally, we need to create a run configuration. So we're going to come up here, click Edit Configurations, and we're going to click the Add button and select Application. Let's give it a name like Client, and we would probably want to create a server version as well. For the main class, we want Gradle Start, and I guess for the server, you would want the Gradle Start server. I've not tried that yet, but I imagine that's what it would be. Then, where it says Use Class Path or Module, we're going to select our Launcher module. And finally, we could add some program arguments, setting your username and UUID. And got my UUID here. Let's go ahead and set the window width and height. And that should be good. And if you need to know your UUID, let me actually bring that up. So anyway, you can use this site. It's mcuuid.net. Just type in your username and look it up. It's just something that's tied to your account. If you ever look through the NBT data of your world, you may have seen your UUID before. Okay, so that should be everything that we need to change here. Let's click OK. If there was a red X here, that would indicate that there was some error, but it looks like there wasn't, so let's go ahead and click Run. Okay, and let's take a look at our mods list. So, got silent lib and scaling health like I added. Now, one little quirk is that it's going to, whatever jar dependencies you add, it's going to load in as well. So you can see we got Morpheus and Wit. And this is something that I wasn't expecting to happen. I just learned this when I tried to record the first time. So, I mean, that's not terrible, but I don't necessarily want these mods loading at all times, so I don't know. Just be aware that if you add any jar dependencies, they are going to load up as mods. And of course, we should be able to create a world with no issues. There we go. See the scaling health difficulty meter in the bottom left, so both mods are definitely working as intended. Could probably use the commands as well. I mean, obviously, if the mods are loading, they should be working. But just to demonstrate that. So I guess that's all I really have to show about this. So this is one way that you can set up a Minecraft modding development environment for multiple mods in IntelliJ IDEA. So I would love to hear some feedback on this. Do you know better ways to do this? Am I doing anything in a weird way? Am I doing anything wrong? Because honestly, this is easier than my Eclipse setup process. So that's all for the tutorial. Thank you for watching. I do have one other thing I would like to discuss for just a minute here while I have the opportunity. If you were just here for the tutorial, then feel free to leave now, and thank you for watching. So Minecraft 1.13 is probably just around the corner. We're on the second pre-release, so if all goes well, we may see a full release within a couple of weeks, and then we may see a Forge release as little as a week after that. But Minecraft Forge is actually they're rewriting a lot of stuff in Forge, which I think is going to be for the better in the long run, but it also means that a stable Forge version may take a while to come out. Now, I intend to start porting mods as soon as a Forge version is available. I want to be more involved in the Forge development process if possible. So I'm very eager to get my hands on that and start experimenting with it, rewriting mods. I mean, I'm going to even use this as an opportunity to rewrite all of my mods, even if I don't necessarily need to. There are some of my mods that desperately need some cleanup. There are some that could benefit from being rewritten to use Java 8 features. So while we're talking about new Minecraft Forge features, there's actually a couple of interesting ones that will affect end users as well, or players, I guess would be a better term. One is that they're working on multi-threaded mod loading. So I'm sure many of you have been playing Minecraft over the past few years know that Minecraft takes forever to load, and it is CPU bound. Running the game off on an SSD or a hard drive has no impact at all because your CPU is the limit, and not only that, it's single-threaded, so only a single core of your CPU can work on the problem. So, quad-core CPUs are pretty common now, so imagine if loading could be improved by a factor of 3 to 4 times, let's say. That's a big improvement. So that's definitely something to look for players to look forward to, and I think even for developers that would be kind of useful as well. Another interesting change is they're going to be overhauling the config system. They're going to be switching the file format to something called TOML, T-O-M-L, which I've looked at it. It looks very nice, much cleaner than the existing Forge config system. Hopefully that'll be a lot easier to work with. Not sure if it'll be any easier for mods, for individual mods to actually read, but we'll have to see. It definitely looks like it'll be a lot easier for users to read and understand the config files. So beyond that, I don't think we know a lot about exactly what all is changing. It's a lot of under the hood stuff. But I think I touched on the two main things that will be interesting to players. So again, I'm excited to get my hands on that, but gonna have to wait a few more weeks. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative, and I'll see you next time.